Imagine walking into a pitch-black room. You stumble around for a few minutes, see nothing, and walk out without reaching for the light switch. This is the standard approach to the Quran. We measure success by pages turned and how quickly we can reach the end of a chapter. Reading becomes a routine. We finish the recitation and close the book, while our internal life remains untouched. Ibn Taymiyyah argued this ignores the design of the text. He viewed the Quran as an active mechanism for human transformation, not a shelf for historical storage. The goal is not for the reader to finish the chapter. The goal is for the chapter to dismantle a flaw within the reader. Turning on the light requires moving past questions about historical context or literal translation. You must ask one specific question: what does this verse demand from me today? In this framework, the names of God are no longer abstract concepts. They function as a direct diagnostic scan of your current state. When the text speaks of divine wisdom, it becomes a mechanism that forces you to identify and stop your own complaints about daily hardships. You transition from a spectator of the past into the subject of a real-time examination. This examination works like an uncompromising mirror. It bypasses the ego to reveal spiritual diseases that often hide in plain sight. The text targets arrogance. It dismantles the illusion that a high volume of good deeds makes one person superior to another. It exposes the root of that arrogance, a failure to recognize the heart's absolute dependence on mercy for every breath and action. It isolates riya, or showing off, diagnosing a heart that has become addicted to the validation of other people. It identifies envy, not as a social grievance, but as a lack of trust in God's justice and distribution. Ibn Taymiyyah noted that this reflection is initially painful. It strips away the psychological masks we use to protect our self-image. This discomfort is the first step toward healing. To avoid the pain of the diagnosis is to remain sick. A diagnosis without a protocol is useless. Realization must convert into immediate action. This action is often private, shifting from anxiety to trust, or correcting a hidden intention where no one else can see the change. The primary threat to this process is taswif, or procrastination. It is the poison that neutralizes spiritual reflection. Every time you tell yourself, "I will act on this later," a hardened layer forms over the heart. These layers eventually block all incoming signals from the text. This creates a state where you can read a powerful verse and feel no emotional or intellectual response. Insight has an expiration date. If behavioral change is not immediate, the understanding becomes a burden rather than a cure. Surviving this diagnostic process leads to what Ibn Taymiyyah calls the paradise of this world. By stripping away the ego and replacing it with a reliance on God's attributes, His wisdom and His mercy, the reader builds an internal anchor. This resilience remains steady when external circumstances collapse. Open the book today. Select one verse and ask what it demands of you right now. Allow the text to serve as the active compass for your reality.